Hi there, welcome back to my channel and to today's video where I'm going to be showing you a bunch of eyeshadow palettes in my collection, which in my opinion are perfect for spring. They just have all of the springy kinds of colors ranging from new growth to thunderstorms, and if you're interested in seeing that, then don't go anywhere. Okay, I have quite the pile of palettes here because, I might have gotten a little carried away. Perhaps. If you're curious about today's eyeshadow look, I will link it in the cards and I will also link it down in the description box. And any of these palettes which are still available, I will also link in the description box. I think that I have videos on almost every one of these palettes and also playlists for pretty much all. Check my channel if you're curious. And because I have so many, and I also have other things that I need to do today, let's just dive right in. I'm going to start off with the Saga of Freya palette from Oden. I always think that this is a very springy color story. I think it's a lovely balance of kind of earthy, grounded tones, but also these pops of something unexpected, like flowers poking their heads out of the ground. And we've got some sky blue colors over here. We've got deeper, earthy, like I said, ground and leaves, and it just feels like a nice balance of all of those things together in a small, concise package. I like the concept of this, and I really love blue and orange together, which the first time I saw it, my heart skipped a beat, and I was like, and I had no idea, like I did not have the skills to create what I was envisioning or to do something that worked with those colors. Over the years, that's changed, fortunately, with about 4 days a week of practice, and it's been fun to take these colors that I loved from the very beginning and put them into eye looks. Here's a palette that's quite new to my collection. It was given to me by a subscriber. This is the Margarita palette from Glamlite, and this would probably appear in a summer video too if I can get that far ahead. But this is a great, very springy, summery kind of palette overall. Just like warm months, the pools are opening, the flowers are coming, everything's coming to life, the trees are in bloom, the birds are singing, the rabbits are having babies. This is such a vibrant, bright kind of palette. It does actually make me think of alcoholic drinks like margaritas or mojitos. I think of mojito as like a springtime alcoholic beverage because of the fresh lime and the cucumber. It just feels very light. And when I think of spring, I think of light warmth as opposed to summer, which feels like a heavy warmth. Anyway, this palette's kind of in the middle. It would be great for both, but I do see more springy tones up here, and yet you can bring this palette slightly more towards the neutral side of things with these more brown and golden tones. Here's a palette I always consider to be kind of boring, and yet I keep it because it's so good at what it does, even if that might be considered boring. I like neutrals now, so I appreciate the Kaleidos Sashimi City palette. Yes, it's very, it's kind of dull. It's not exciting at all. But if this is what you are kind of feeling that day, you've got these light, soft kinds of tones. Nothing's too heavy, even though we do have a decent amount of contrast within just 6 shades. There's a little bit of variance in undertone. You could go a little more warm or a little more cool-ish. On the whole, you could go with a true neutrally shimmer, or you could have more of a pinky brown leaning shimmer. So it gives you a bit of variety, a bit of depth, a bit of contrast, but in a really safe format. And this is great for spring because it's just light and airy. It's not too fussy, it's not too heavy, it's not, highly colorful or impactful. And again, like I said, spring makes me feel light and airy, and this is a good light, airy kind of palette. NZ Rain had to make an appearance because they have a palette that is literally spring themed. It's the Happy Go Lucky. This is a cute little 6-pan. It's a beautiful arrangement of colors within a small amount of shades between lightness and depth. We have 2 very different midtones. You can go more neutral, you can go more purpley pink, and the same thing with the shimmers. The shimmer, again, it could be pinky orange. If you pair it with the browns, it's going to pull a little bit safer. Or the shimmer here, it looks kind of green in the palette, but it's actually really not green on the lid or in swatches. It actually has more of a bluey, purpley, whitey, frothy kind of effect. It's not what you see is what you get, and that's what makes it versatile, because depending on what you pair it with, you're going to get different finished results. You'll move different directions. This is a good palette, great quality. And it's magnetic, so if you do BYOP, then it's a nice option. Let's talk about Sigma. I have a palette from them that really, they really pulled it out with this one. Surprised the dickens out of me, still continues to surprise me. And it is so unlike the other Sigma palettes that I tried. This is their collaboration with The Little Mermaid. And I think that this Remember I said in the beginning of the video, kind of thunderstorms? This palette is a little of everything to me. I think it's a great mixture, again, of lightness and depth. You have quite light shades, you have a black matte, so you can go however deep you want to go. You can lighten with shimmers. None of the shimmers are too dark that I wouldn't be interested in using them. It's also a good mix of color in itself because it has the neutral side and it has the colorful side. And when I think of these stormy, not murky, but stormy, these stormy blue, green, purple sorts of shades, I think of springtime, I think of the ocean. And again, you can pair them with each other and just get something that's quite colorful and impactful, and you have a variety in mattes and shimmers. Or you can pair them with something that's more neutral and grounded, so you get a slightly less varied, but more safe or more interesting look. You know, if you're gonna pair blue and purple shimmers with brown mattes, you'll get something that's just honestly more interesting. The formula is beautiful. I think it's a really, really nice palette. They really did something different with this guy, and I appreciate it. Yes, this is the Oden's Eye Earthwood palette. I've had some issues with Oden's Eye and their quality. It seems to be a bit spotty, which I don't love. I have gotten rid of several palettes that had hard pan in the shimmers or patchy mattes or just no payout, and they were frustrating. So I decided to give this one a try because I love the packaging and I like the color story. It's beautiful. I've been happy so far with this palette. This is kind of garden vibes, right? Again, just like before, we have the grounded neutral tones. We have some browns, we have some greens, and then we also have these very interesting pops of color, and the undertones in this palette are what really stand out to me. The undertone of this peachy salmon color, like salmon, coral, whatever it is, the undertone of this, it's not a spring green, it's not a lime green, it's not a grass green, it's something. It's almost like a sage, mid-tone sage, I guess. The undertone of this lavender, it's not quite a light white based lavender, but it's not really a blue based lavender, but it's not a lilac with a lot of pink in there. It's just different. And that's what makes it so interesting. And they perfectly captured those tones in the packaging. Beautiful. We have a deep, this is called Moss. It's a mossy forest green shimmer, which is lovely. Really pretty. So this is a great spring palette. It gives you pretty light looks on the whole. It's not pastel. I do wish that maybe there were one real pastel matte in here, but that's okay. Really lovely overall, and so far I've been happy with the quality. I went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to include this palette in today's video because, I mean, on the one hand, it doesn't at all make me think of spring, you know, but on the other hand, it kind of does. And let me specify, I'm talking about the Undergrowth palette from Cosmic Brushes. I was thinking the actual colors kind of take me more towards fall because they're a little bit grungy on the whole, like the overall impression of the palette, a little grungy, a little swampy and murky, which I love. But I can't think of spring without thinking of green. I mean, who can, right? We've got new growth, we've got new life, we've got all of a sudden the grass poking up out of the dry, wintry ground, and everything's coming alive again. And so for that reason, I've included this because of the greens. Now, certainly some of these are more springy, in my opinion, than others, like this and this and this and this. But on the whole, I think this would be a great palette to use as its, you know, on its own, I was gonna say as itself. To use on its own, but also you could pair it with other palettes and get some really lovely looks that also had the grounding effect of neutrals. And in my opinion, green is a neutral. There's actually one palette specifically I was thinking of pairing with this palette that would be the epitome of spring. Since I'm referencing that one, let's talk about it. It's the Blend Bunny Sickly Sweet palette, a beautiful pastel palette, one of the best pastel palettes that has been released in the opinion of many people. I don't have any other pastels, but I know that Blend Bunny is great quality, so I mean, you can't go wrong. All of these pastels are pigmented, they're opaque, they're not patchy, they're not skippy or thin or weak. They are exactly what they're supposed to be, and they're beautiful. Like this inner corner I have right here, it's not from Blend Bunny, but it's just the kind of pastel I'm talking about where you dip into the pan, you apply it to the eye, and what you see is what you want, what you see is what you get. That's exactly what it should be. Good pastels are a treat. So this is a great palette, obviously mostly pastels, but we do have some deepening shades, which I love. Most of them are darker, mid-tone darker, a couple are just true mid-tones. It's a lovely assortment of colors, it's a lot of fun, and this would be a great thing to pair with the Undergrowth because again, you can ground your look with neutrals, browns, greens, soft yellowy tones, but you can make it pop with something interesting. It would be really fun to do like mainly mattes with Undergrowth and then bring in one of these more colorful shimmers and then maybe a poppy inner corner or lower lash line. let's talk about Lethal Cosmetics. I only have one palette from them, but this is a good one. This is a good one for a spring video. It is the Wildflower palette. Look at this color story. I mean, could you get more springtime than this? This is like Easter in a box. It's so bright, it's so colorful, it's so pigmented. I can just imagine little Easter eggs in a basket. That's what I see right here. Perhaps a watercolor painting, a painting of a bouquet, something frothy and feminine like little girls' bedroom decor and artwork. These are the colors. There's something about these tones that are really, really poppy on me, not including this one, with the exception of a basic navy blue. But besides that one, everything else in this palette is really striking on my skin tone, so it's fun to wear and just get this popping kind of, oh, hello sort of look. I could go a little bit safer, but like if I stayed stuck to these shades right here and maybe, I'm not even sure which, like I don't know that there's a safe shimmer inside this palette. It doesn't have the neutral options that a lot of these other ones do. And that's okay, you know? It's a great spring palette. The last one from Oden's Eye is an old favorite, top favorite actually, Sea Talk, when they collaborated with Lauren May Beauty. This is a beautiful palette. And again, we have a lovely mix of neutrals and colors. Actually the same format as that Little Mermaid, neutrals, colors, and the colors are blue and purple. I guess they're kind of similar. Little Mermaid has more, but this palette has these interesting shades right here, specifically these two. And it's a beautiful blend. It's a beautiful combination. I love how curated it is. It's not too big, it's not too small. We have some depth, we have some lightness, we have a great inner corner highlight. Overall, it's beautiful. And within the warm or the neutral tones here, we have warmth and we have cooler tones. Like these are warm, these are cool. It's really easy to build a look. You can go a little bit more darker smoky if you wanted to with these shades over here, or you could bring in something a bit more poppy and interesting. The formula is beautiful. I really like this palette. Okay, so this next palette was given to me by a subscriber. This is Garden of Juvia's, and I mean, hello. Can we get an amen? This is a springy palette. This is a bouquet of flowers. Greens, soft, pinky, neutrally tones, pinks and purples. What more could you need? It's beautiful. The formula is really nice. This surprised me because it's unlike the other Juvia's Place palettes that I tried from a few years back. I'm guessing they updated their formula, but the shimmers in here are a lot like Simply Posh. So if you like Simply Posh's shimmers, you probably like these as well. They're lightweight, they're kind of thin, but they're still very present. They're sparkly and they're colorful, like shifting colors, you know? They're not always just the color you see, but if they are, they're nice. But sometimes they go a different direction as well. They're a little bit flippy. I think that this palette's nice, and visually, when I see pictures of their other palettes, I'm assuming it's the same formula between this and their Sweet Shop palette and their Culture 2 palettes as well. I don't know for sure, I haven't tried those, but this one's nice, and it's different from what I remember Juvia's Place being and offering. Anyway, I do wish that this shade were a little bit darker, and that this shade were a little bit more lemony, and that instead of one of these purples, we had a soft blue. That would make it more perfect in my opinion, but on the whole, it's a great palette and it's perfect for spring. You'll have to tell me, do you actually do your eyeshadow based on seasons? I don't, but I do recognize that it's, not only is it fun to give yourself like an umbrella to talk about palettes that fall in that category, but sometimes I do feel inspired by a season, or maybe I'm wearing, you know, I'm kind of in my spring wardrobe and those colors are inspiring me. Or sometimes like in the middle of summer, I might be wishing for winter. So I'll do like a wintry eyeshadow look. I don't know. Let's talk about another palette that makes me think of a garden, but this is now the other end of a garden. This is the end of the day when the colors are fading, everything is desaturated, the sky is getting darker. We have a gloomy, dreamy, dusk sort of garden, and that is the Muse palette from Cosmic Brushes or Cosmic Beauty. This is a stunner, super pretty. I love the theming, I love the name, I love the design, I love everything. The color story is gorgeous, the formula is lovely. Again, with an assortment of cool, warm, neutral colors, and there's a decent arrangement of depth as well, mostly darker leaning. There's no true pastel in here, but you can get an inner corner highlight with this one. This is an okay inner corner highlight. It needs to be a little bit lighter for my skin tone and my preferences. I just think it's a lovely palette. It's just very rosy and yet not too rosy. Very quiet, but not too quiet. Very somber, but not boring. You know what I mean? And you can go more neutral. You can definitely pick out some of these soft neutral tones if you wanted to, or you can go surprisingly colorful. I like it. It's a good one. And finally, this was also given to me by a subscriber, and it is the last palette in today's video. It's an Ensley Rain palette. This is Flower Moon. This one's intense. It is a lot. There's so much going on here. This is currently in my BYOP. Trying to remember what shade it is. I don't recall, but anyway, a whole row of mattes and then 2 rows of really intense shimmers. This palette has a lot of green leaning shimmers. I'd say 2/3 are green, 2/3 are more purpley pinky leaning, and then the rest have more variety. The quality is beautiful, of course. It's super intense. So if you like a very, very, very intense eyeshadow look, Inslee Rand's a good option for you. I think that this is a lovely palette. And again, I mean, it's called Flower Moon, right? It could be called Flower Garden. It's really floral. These shades are very poppy, fun, walking through a garden, walking through a field kinds of shades, especially because there are so many greens with different undertones and different flips. You get a lot of textures and choices within the grounding colors, the foundational colors, and then you can throw on a more poppy color for interest. So great eyeshadow palette for spring as well. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for being here, and do tell me, let me know in the comments below, what are some of your favorite palettes to play with during the spring season? I know this video is late. I mean, it's probably going to be almost summer by the time this goes up, but you do what you got to do. You do what you can do. Anyway, tell me what you're playing with these days. Tell me if you have any of these palettes, which ones you like the most. If you like to do your eyeshadow based on season, or if you have the spring palettes, the summer palettes, if you have overlap. I would love to hear from you. I enjoy chatting with you so much when you comment on my video. Thank you so much. Perhaps you'll consider liking and subscribing before you go, and I will check in with you next time. Bye.